Hey everybody, Cassie here with Kenra Professional, and I am so excited today to share with you our Fringe 101. We are gonna walk you through all the steps to make a perfect fringe for any haircut. First, we're gonna start with a curtain fringe. Then we're gonna work our way into a rounded face framing fringe. I'm gonna then take you into a squared fringe, and then we're gonna work our way into a piecey fun fringe. This is a way that we can just really show you the basics of creating the right fringe for the right haircut. First things first, when I am thinking about fringe, I need to think about the head shape most importantly. I wanna know where that fringe compartment lives. And the best way to determine that is to take a look at where the highest point of the head is. When I want a really strong fringe, it's important that I am working from that point because that's where the hair will start to fall forward, right? So I lay my comb directly on top of the head just to see where that high point is. Many times when we're doing fringe, we find that sometimes we get finished and we have like those one or two pieces that just kind of fall over to the side. Or if we cut too far past this point, we end up cutting into our hairline a little bit and we're like, why doesn't this match? This is the explanation for all that. This one point will help guide us through any fringe compartment placement. So now that I've determined where the high point is, I'm going to draw a triangular line to the recession on either side. So I'm gonna take a look under here with my comb and just find out where that spot lives. I know where my high point is. I know where my recession is. I'm gonna put a finger there and then I'm gonna draw a line with my comb to that compartment, creating a perfect triangle section right here, and then matching that again on the opposite side. And now you can see that that's where that hair is gonna live. Now, when they put their head down, you can see that none of this hair is falling kind of over top of that, right? If I cut too much into this, this is gonna fall this way. The hair is just gonna fall the way it's gonna fall. You can't change the way that the head is shaped. I'm actually going to just remove the rest of the hair out of the way, and this will be the section that I pin away. So to make sure that I don't cut into it. Now with a curtain fringe, what I'm taking into consideration here is how I want it to lay. With a curtain fringe, we want it to be a little shorter in the middle and split apart. And we also want it to kind of fall back. I think of, you know, almost like the 70s bang, right? Where you have like a split and it kind of feathers back and away from the face. Now, for that to happen, the best thing for us to do is to create shorter hairs that will push the longer hairs back. And that will give you the best control and the easiest for your client to style in the end. Because if you're cutting it to the way that they're gonna style it, it's going to make it much simpler for them when they come back in to finish that shape. So first and foremost, I'm gonna find the middle part and I'm gonna work one section at a time. So I think it's best to stand the opposite corner of where you're gonna cut. So we're gonna cut this piece on this side and we're gonna cut this piece on this side. So my working compartments, so that I am taking not so much hair. It's always gonna depend on how much hair your client has. First and foremost, I wanna gauge how short I want the top to be. In most cases, I want it to live just kind of at the bridge or below the bridge on the nose here. So that will be my first cut, is kind of determining where I want that to live. And I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm going to slide cut that whole section. And then I'm gonna bring over and match. Now you can already see, look how the hair is pushing toward that direction. These shorter hairs are pushing out to the longer hairs. So for my next section, I'm gonna cross over on the other side, match up my shortest point to the shortest portion, and then point cut my way down the other side to match. Now that we have that cut, I'm going to go in with my round brush just to show you that completed shape. I'm going to bring my round brush down, blowing down this way and back to give it the accentuated sweep of that curtain fringe. And then same way on the opposite side, bringing it down and rolling it back. So as you can see, we're finished with our curtain fringe. What's great about this is that you have those shorter hairs pushing the longer hairs back on both sides. So you're getting that nice sweep. This is great for a long layered haircut and perfect to just blend in for everybody. She can switch her part and go either direction with this. It's not a full commitment when it comes to fringe. So next we're going to work our way into a soft face framing fringe. This is actually what I'm wearing. So this is a great one. Trust me, I know how to do it. So as you can see, we have the same fringe compartment as we did before, and now we're gonna be working with a face framing fringe. So the idea of this is that this is the type of fringe that'll lay directly over the eyebrow. It's just going to frame that face really nicely. This is a great fringe for a lot of people. It's strong, it's bold, but it matches your face very simply, so it gives you this beautiful soft angle right over your eyebrow arch. So the way that I approach this is I can do one of two things. Depending on how thick the hair is, I can just take the whole thing. This is gonna be the easiest fringe you ever learn. I can take the whole thing in one sweeping section and just take it right into the bridge of the nose and just cut it. Or if I have a lot of hair, I might take this in two sections. So I'm gonna show it to you in two separate sections. So for this now, I'm combing it all forward, and now you're gonna see me bring it all pulled together to the middle of the bridge of the nose, and we're gonna cut just a simple straight line. So you can see with this, it just softly frames the eye right over top of the eye. Now, there's a couple different ways that we can detail this and finish this. For myself, I even do the same thing I did with the fringe before, which is that I do the round brush and pull it away from my face. But this is a pretty simple, straightforward fringe. This is kind of one of those, a client comes in and she wants fringe. This is almost where I go. She wants a full fringe because this is a great, easy, wearable, looks good on everybody and cut specifically towards your face. So it gives you that beautiful, soft, but bold fringe. This is a really natural looking fringe. So what I'm going to do for styling is I'm just going to blow dry it simply where it lays and let it lay naturally so you guys can see the finished result. So now you can see that we have this completed fringe compartment. It's beautiful. This is a face framing fringe and it literally lays just perfectly. Judging by the bridge of her nose, you're just working into that natural lay of the way the hair is going to fall. So it's a beautiful fringe on a lot of people. This is a great look for clients who want like a dramatic change without losing all their length or, changing a lot all over, but it really just changes the whole dynamic of the face structure. Now for the next fringe we're gonna do a really extreme squared fringe. Now, what's cool about this is that it's super edgy, it's definitely bold, but it is something that I think is really clean and for the right cut. I love this for like a squared bob. This is a really cool type of fringe. Now, easily enough to go from this to a more squared fringe. The thing is because it's so precision, to me, it's really important that you take nice, clean sections every time. I think of this as like the bob of fringe. So for this type of fringe, because it's so important that we are creating a nice, clean line, taking smaller sections, I'll probably go 3, maybe even 4 sections to create this look. So as you can see, I'm using the closed scissors behind to pull the hair away from the face so it's not sticking. And I'm using zero tension, but using the comb as my guide. reason I'm using my comb as my guide as opposed to my fingers is because I want this to lay super flat to her head. If I was to use my fingers, I'm going to create an elevation, which is going to give me a bit of a stack. And that means that anything that lays over top of this is going to be a little bit shorter. So I'm going to have a little bit of wispies in the underneath. So you can do that, but what happens then is you come back in and you see that you have all these little hairs in the bottom that you're going to have to fix up. So you can see as I'm dropping each section, it's really important that I'm not taking so much hair that I can't see my guide underneath. Another point is making sure that my scissors are staying very square, so I'm not beveling them in either direction. So with this kind of fringe, when I blow dry, I like to either use a Denman, oftentimes like a 5-row Denman, which is a really small one, which will give me a lot of control. Or for example, on mannequin hair like hers, I'm actually gonna use a comb to blow dry. And I'm going to just push one direction and then the opposite direction, and then pushing in the opposite, back and forth to create a really nice, clean, straight blow dry. So I do this even on myself. I don't have mannequin hair, but I do have a bit of a cowlick. And so what's nice about that is that it will help control and make sure that lays perfectly. As you can see, we are finished with the square fringe. Very similar to your face framing, except again, the corners are coming up, so you're much more square. It's much more dramatic. This is a great shape. It goes with a bob, or you can even use this on long hair. This is actually, I was saying to the guys behind the scenes earlier, this is actually the same haircut or the same fringe shape that I use when people ask for that, you know, really beautiful Audrey Hepburn shape as well. So you could even see, like, if we part this to the side, you're gonna have that classic Audrey Hepburn type fringe as well. So now I'm gonna take this dramatic square shaped fringe into something even more dramatic, which is a really piecey kind of 90s fringe. For this fringe, I actually like to use my razor. It's really simple. This is a really fun, specific fringe. I think of this as me reliving my 90s dreams. So this is that really piecey kind of punk rock type of fringe. It can be used with a lot of things. I love it as dramatic. I love having it as a piecey fringe with a long cut, but this is something, this trick you can use when you're doing short haircuts. You can use this trick on really actually any length of fringe. So for this section, I'm just taking and splitting it in half, taking that top section out of the way. And it's too much for me to work with this entire section at once. So I'm just gonna split it into two. I'm gonna take my razor and I'm gonna weave my razor in and out, creating kind of almost like a weaved section like you would for a highlight. You can already see all that really dramatic pieciness. On this side, same thing, just weaving my razor in and out, and I'm just taking off that back section. I'm gonna take my top section that I pulled from the top here, bringing it forward, but I'm going to leave it pulled out straight from the head instead of dropping it down, because I'm gonna do the same thing here. Just weaving my razor in and out, and taking. And then with this kind of blow dry, really the more haphazard, the better. It's really meant to be super piecey and super deconstructed. So I'm just going to blow dry it with my fingers and give it a lot of detailed texture. Other thing to take into consideration is that we actually went from a really, really incredibly straight fringe. So if I want to break up this line, I can go in now once it's dry with my scissors and just point cut out some of that line that I might see and just soften that even further. So as you can see, fringe is a great way to elevate your look or change your shape or change your look, and it can be very subtle or it can be super dramatic. Anything from your curtain fringe to a face frame to a really bold square to this nice piecey funky fringe, there's something for everybody. We hope you loved this video. I had so much fun making it. If you liked it, let us know in the comments below. Also, let us know what else you'd like to see. We love hearing from you, and we hope you like, subscribe, and follow Kenra Professional for more video tutorials just like this.